My brothers, we just won a wild one, 26-24. We beat the Buccaneers. We, I don't know how the fuck this team got 7 wins on the season, but this has been a great Christmas football weekend for me. Of course, the Texas Longhorns, hook 'em horns, they dominate the Clemson Tigers yesterday. And today, my Cowboys have nothing to play for. They have been officially eliminated out of the playoff race. They have literally have nothing to play for. You know what? I take that back. They have everything to play for. They're playing for pride. That's what they're playing for. They're playing. They're not just going to roll over and fucking die out there. Look at Deron Bland ripping it. You mean to tell me Deron Bland ripping out that football? You mean to tell me that he gives a shit about a fucking draft pick? Deron Bland doesn't give a fuck about no goddamn draft pick. Cedarian Lamb had over 100 yards receiving today. He's got a fucked up shoulder. His shoulder's been fucked up for weeks. He knew we were out of playoff contention coming into this game, and he still went in there with an injured shoulder. He could easily go to the coaching staff and like, you know what? I'm going to hang it up. I'm done. I'm going to hang it up. I want to rest this shoulder for next season. I'm done. Instead, Cedarian Lamb takes his ass out there and gets 100 yards for his team with a bum shoulder. Jordan Lewis with that incredible pick in the end zone against McMillan. I don't know how he did that. Tell those dudes to tank for a draft pick. You tell them that shit. Tell them. Those motherfuckers, you would think that they are fighting for their playoff lives right now. This is incredible, man. To see them, to see Micah Parsons giving it his all. You know what, brothers? You can say what you want about Mike McCarthy. I've had my fair share of rumblings about Mike McCarthy. But this shows that this team is showing that they love him. They fight for him. They want him here. And then you see Mike Zimmer, when he finally gets the pieces back, this defense, you got to bring him back, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Bill Belichick is gone. He's with UNC now. You're not going to get Ben Johnson. You got to keep Mike McCarthy and Mike Zimmer for another year. You have to. You have to. I know I'm going to have my detractors in the comments section. It's like, oh, this and that. When your team fights like this and they literally have nothing to play for, Cedarian Lamb has nothing to play for. And he's still out there with the bum shoulder getting you 100 yards. Deron Bland was out for most of the year with a foot injury. And he's out there causing havoc. He played extremely well today against Mike Evans. He held Mike Evans in check. Then you have Jordan Lewis out there doing his thing in a slot against McMillan. Micah Parsons, of course, rushing the passer and just making Baker Mayfield's life hell. He didn't get I don't think he got a sack today, but his presence on the field demands so much attention. Maris Leofau, the rookie, man, he laid a hit on somebody today. Just laid him out. And this defense, this team is playing, they're just laying it out there. They're fighting for their coach. They're fighting for their pride. You know what? We got to pay Jordan Lewis. We got to pay Jordan Lewis. Jordan Lewis needs to be paid. Micah Parsons over here saying all the right shit. I want the Cowboys to pay me before free agency. I want to get a deal done before camp. He wants to participate in camp. He's like, I don't need to be the highest paid defensive player. I don't need that. You got Micah Parsons showing true leadership out there. You got Cedarian Lamb out here with a bum-ass shoulder, still getting you 100 yards. You got you got Cooper Rush, who is 9-4 as a backup, playing his heart out. Deron Bland, this entire team, man, this team is showing you something, brothers. Micah Parsons needs to be paid. Jordan Lewis needs to be paid. Deron Bland, when his time comes, you got to pay him. Man, I wish I could listen to him right now. Deron Bland is doing the post-game interview, but they're going to copyright my shit if I turn it on. So I'm not going to do that. But damn, man, just the odd man out. I mean, Trayvon Diggs, it looks like the odd man out. But for somehow, some way, I feel like the Cowboys, that they're going to figure something out with him. Brothers, this just goes to show what we could have done this season had we not experienced so many injuries. We could have beaten Atlanta if we had Micah. We could have beaten them, man. We could have, if we had our players, man, we could be a playoff team right now if we just didn't go through all this bullshit. But you know what? That goes back to Jerry Jones not filling in the holes the right way. And Coach McCarthy deserves some blame too. We had Rico Dowdle on the roster the entire season, and we decide to use him when we have no choice. That's a coaching issue. But you know what? The team is still fighting for him. He deserves to be here another year. Just the coaching mishaps, you know, that could have been a couple of mishaps from the owner too. Of course, there's some mishaps from the owner not getting the personnel that we need and not filling out this roster like he should have. And he probably pushed Ezekiel Elliott, you know, to get as many touches as he did, taking away from Rico Dowdle. But brothers, if we cleaned up a couple of things here and there and didn't experience all the injuries and actually spent a little money in free agency, brothers, we would be in the playoff race right now. Shit, if we would have won that game against Cincinnati, we'd still be mathematically in it. But brothers, you know what? Forget all that. The season is lost. It's okay. But you know what, though? Like I said, remember those 2022 Detroit Lions? Remember them? They had nothing to play for. They started the season at 1-6 and finished 9-8. They won 9 games and knocked out Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers' last year in Green Bay, out of the playoff race. Knocked them out. And then they carried that momentum into the next season. Brothers, we can do the same here. And everybody who talks about tanking for a draft pick, brothers, this draft sucks. This draft is ass. I remember reading a comment somewhere, and it was so succinct and it was so accurate. Only 10 players in this year's draft are worthy of a first-round pick. Everybody else from 15 to 55 are pretty much the same caliber player. When they said that, I'm like, that accurately describes this upcoming draft. What are you tanking for? There's nothing to tank for. You don't need a quarterback. You got Dak Prescott sewn up. And then, all the Dak people and the Dak haters and the Cooper Rush lovers, you got 2 quarterbacks. You got Dak and you got Cooper Rush. You don't need a quarterback. You do need a wide receiver, but you don't have to. You can get a good receiver at your draft position. You need someone to complement CeeDee Lamb. But you already have a top flight wide receiver. You just need someone to complement him. You already have a standout pass rusher and Micah Parsons, who you're going to pay. You have to pay because he's generational. He's a difference maker. I mean, if you wanted to tank for Abdul Carter from Penn State, who was basically a Micah clone, I understand that, but the top positions, quarterback, receiver, and edge rusher, and you're set at defensive back, other than safety, but you can find a good safety on day 2. You got Deron Bland, you got Jordan Lewis, you got Trayvon Diggs. You got all the main premier positions sewn up, man. You got it sewn up. So what are you tanking for? And like I said, there's only 10 players that are worthy of a first-round pick. From that point on to that, from 11 to 55, they're pretty much the same caliber player. So you're tanking for nothing. Just keep fighting, man. And this is the shit that I like to see, man. You seeing your main guys out there not folding on the season, not just locking up the locker room, just walking out and just calling it and just going to Cancun early. They're not doing that shit. They're continuing to fight. And that's all I wanted. That's all I ever wanted. It's good to see it, man. It's good to see it. And I got 2 big wins for Christmas, man. The Texas Longhorns and the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, man. Man, Texas football, man. Brothers, I'm just enjoying this shit. Christmas is on Wednesday. Got 3 days. Man, it just... I'm so proud of this team, man. I'm so proud. Just if a couple of things went our way, we'd be a playoff team right now. It's okay. Re-up. If you can get Ashton Genty at your draft position, get him. If not, this draft class has so many running backs to choose from, brothers. If you can't get Ashton Genty, guess what? You can get Omarion Hampton, who is my personal favorite from UNC. You can get the Caleb Johnson kid from Iowa. You can look at Quinshon Judkins or Travion Henderson, both from Ohio State. They looked great against Tennessee the other day. And Tennessee didn't represent the SEC very well. But those 2 running backs from Ohio State. You got so many running backs to choose from, dog. So even if you can't get Ashton, you got so many others. So many. You got the Ollie Gordon kid from Oklahoma State. You got Evan Neal from Kansas. You got the running back from Texas Tech. How many fucking running backs are there, man? There's so many. Just you can't go wrong if you're looking for a running back. And then you can take care of Rico if his price is in line. You take care of him, pair him along with the new running back that you'll draft. We're good. We're good. You got to pay Jordan Lewis. You got to pay Osa Odigizua. Of course, pay Micah Parsons. You gotta get, re-up in the draft. Maybe get a free agent here or there. Brothers, we can do this. 2025 and 2026 are all in years. We can pay our premier guys, and we can still have enough money to get other pieces. And we can pick up some pieces here and there from the draft. Brothers, we'll be fine. You want to know how we're fine? If we didn't suffer from all the fucking injuries, brothers, we'd be in the playoff race right now. We're okay. We'll be good. It was a down year. We will be fine. And the players are getting used to Mike Zimmer and his scheme and his system. We're going to be all right, brothers. We're going to be all right. Stop with the tank bullshit. Stop with all the nonsense. Fuck all that. We're going to be fine. The future is still bright. We got this. All right, my brothers. I'll catch y'all later. Peace.